Time for the monthly PSA score. Not good. Nearly doubled in a month.
My PSA is skyrocketing. Now a reminder, PSA is prostate-specific antigen. That's a protein on the outside of prostate cells. I haven't had a prostate since July 1, 2020. The only reason I can have PSA is if I have prostate cancer cells, and those cancer cells are obviously multiplying. So let's take a look at where I'm going to go from here. PSA score. Here's the graph from my online medical chart. You see a near doubling in the last month. Misses. I've been graphing my PSA from April of this year. You can see the graph. That's what it looked like in the last missive. The scale is slightly changed, and we can see the exciting results in the recent 30 days. My last entry in this diary a month ago that I've been communicating with a clinic in Germany about obtaining lutetium-177 treatment. That's a treatment that uses a radioisotope to attach to the prostate-specific membrane antigen that is on the outside of prostate cancer cells. And it's a two-step process, as I've explained before. First, the docs inject the patient with a low-grade radioisotope called gallium-68, which attaches to that PSMA. And then second, the docs inject the patient with a slightly higher grade of radioisotope, lutetium-177, which attaches to that gallium-68 and radiates the cancer cells and hopefully kills them. The German team came back with a different recommendation, immunotherapy, which I'll explain briefly shortly, because of my negative score or negative findings with a fancy scan I had a year ago. That was a PSMA PET scan. That is, again, use of a radioisotope. The docs injected it into my body. It floated around. The docs scanned me to see if those radioisotopes found any cancer cells, and they did not. Now, at the time, my PSA was a low score of 0.034. It was, though, up from 0.008 over 6 months. So I convinced the doctors to conduct this fancy scan, which turned out to be negative. But the PSMA PET scan is not very accurate for scores lower than 0.2. So what do we do now? Well, we'll talk about that. Immunotherapy? Well, let's take a shallow look at it now. If I do undergo this treatment, I'll do a deep dive, but let's go to the American Cancer Society and its simple definitions. It is what it sounds like, uses the body's own immune defenses to fight cancer. There are two basic methods. One is to improve your immune response. The second is to step into a lab, use some of your tissue, run it through some magic machine, and inject it back into your body to attack those cancer cells. Physicians use this second kind of immunotherapy, and it's the creation of a vaccine. I'm going to keep it simple and talk in this entry in my diary about the most prominent drug used to treat prostate cancer in this fashion. It's a T-cell treatment using T cells from the patient's own blood. The trade name is Provenge, and it's used to treat castration-resistant prostate cancer. Provenge is a personalized immunotherapy that activates the immune system to fight advanced prostate cancer, has been proven to help certain men with metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer live longer. It's the lead product by a company called Dendreon, which on its website, as of today, brags that it got approval for this treatment in 2010. And since 2010, in a decade and a half, 15 years, nearly 40,000 men have received this treatment. There are about 300,000 new cases of prostate cancer a year. There are about 35,000 deaths from prostate cancer a year. That's 4.5 million cases in those 15 years since Provenge was approved, and over 500,000 deaths. How is it that only 40,000 men have obtained this kind of treatment? Is the complexity of creating this treatment. In 2010, 15 years ago, when the FDA approved this drug, this is from a Stanford Medical School article, everybody thought every patient would get this treatment. But it turned out to be difficult to administer. Here's a narrative from that same article. The patient had to go to one lab to get a medication, drive to another lab to have the blood taken out, go to another lab to have the blood reinserted. In the meantime, the blood had to be frozen, very complicated. And it was expensive. At the time, 15 years ago, about $100,000 for treatments. Now, about $250,000 for treatment for the drug itself. Biologic complexity of administering the treatment. We have to look at this treatment in the U.S. through the lens of the mortality and economic charity occasioned by our for-profit healthcare system. Let's take a look very briefly at my healthcare insurer. Anthem Blue Cross covers this drug just about like every other medical insurance available in the U.S. It may be medically necessary if I can prove that my cancer becomes castration resistant. And then I'll get this after either physical castration or, as we discussed before, medical castration. And at that point in time, Prevenge could give me another 2 years of life. To my early conversations with the German clinic, it works differently. In the U.S., we've got this frozen blood because of the complex landscape for creating the vaccine. Not so in Germany. A single clinic treats the patient, creates the vaccine right there, and re-injects it into the patient. And it works mostly like this. I walk in, physical, some tests, get my blood taken. I hang out in the beer garden for about a week. Sounds good to me. I go back in and I get injected with this vaccine that will treat my cancer. 9 days. The cost? 32,000 euros or about $33,000 for the treatment, including the drug. Now remember, in the U.S., the drug itself costs $250,000. And I can obtain this in the next month or so. My original plan was to wait until June, but yeah, I've got that skyrocketing PSA. May not be the best thing to wait months. And now that my PSA is up to a high score, or a much higher score, I think maybe I should undergo another fancy scan to see whether the scan can identify where my cancer is. And then that brings back into play that lutetium-177 radiotherapy. And I can have conversations with my physicians in Germany, but also my physicians here in the U.S. about the best way forward. Stay tuned.
So now we wait, see whether I get a new scan, whether I look forward to the lutetium or more likely the immunotherapy, looking to hear back from the Germans and, oh, maybe even my doctors from the U.S. Oh, wait, hang on. Yes? Oh, hello, doctor. Yeah, pretty scary, right? Yeah, nearly doubled. Oh, yeah. I agree. PSMA PET scan, right? The next couple of weeks? Yeah. You'll try to get me in? Oh, great. Oh, thanks. You'll have the people scheduling call me. Yeah, thank you very much. Wow, my oncologist just called. He saw the results in my chart. A little alarmed. Off hours, called me at home. Said that the people scheduling the PSMA PET scans are going, wait. Yes? Oh, yeah. My oncologist told me you'd be phoning. Yeah, oh. Crowded schedule? What? Okay, we can schedule the return visit, the follow-up visit first, and that'll force the people running the machines to fit me in and give me the fancy scan. Okay, yeah, sure, yeah. March 24th? Yeah, that works with my schedule. Okay, that's the follow-up. It'll be 2 weeks after the treatment, so that means, or after the scan, I mean. Yeah, so somehow they'll have to fit me in for the scan in the next 2 weeks. Oh, great, yeah. Hey, thank you very much, and thank you for calling me at home off hours. Yeah, thanks. It's the good news and the bad news. Your oncology team gets so concerned about your numbers that they phone you at home off hours unbidden. The bad news is your oncology team gets so concerned about your numbers that they phone you at home off hours. Stay tuned. The journey continues.